Alright, so quick little story about big O notation, and the idea of scaling something at a constant versus a quadratic, and how constants don't really matter when something gets very large. So if you change the constants very slightly, it's not going to really make a big effect on the overall performance of your method. So big O notation and hitting things with hammers from the computational fairy tale book. Okay, so keep in the back of your head, big O notation focuses on the essentially worst case performance of an algorithm as the size of your input grows. As such, it focuses on just the aspects of the running time that depend most on the size of the data. Constants are dropped from big O notation. "I've done it," proclaimed Judd as he burst into the library. "I've done it." Peter looked up from behind the counter. "Done what?" he asked. He tried to rub sleep from his eyes. "I've revolutionized the art of making horseshoes," stated Judd proudly. Judd was a blacksmith's apprentice in Alexandria and a friend of Peter's. Like all apprentices, he dreamed of making a major contribution to his field, advancing the state of the art. However, as Peter had found, revolutionizing one's field was actually an exceedingly difficult task. His own attempts to improve library science had ended poorly and, in one particularly embarrassing case, resulted in a 2-day hospital stay. "How?" asked Peter. "It's very technical. What do you know about making horseshoes?" "Nothing," admitted Peter. He was a librarian's apprentice and had never been to a forge. When he thought about it, he remembered having once used a hammer. He had either been trying to hang a picture or swat a fly. It was a long time ago, and the details were very fuzzy. "The key," said Jed, "is flattening the horseshoe. You have to hit it repeatedly with a hammer until it's flat enough. It takes a lot of muscle." Peter nodded politely. The description perfectly matched his mental image of blacksmiths pounding metal with large hammers. Encouraged, Judd continued, "The larger the horseshoe, the more you have to hit it. You need 10 hits per inch for each pass. 10 hits. But the horseshoe also bulges around where you hit it, so you need to make more flattening passes on longer horseshoes. In fact, for each inch of horseshoe, you need to make another pass over the whole thing. So if the horseshoe is n inches long, then you need to swing the hammer 10 times n times n number of times." Judd paused, waiting for some reaction from Peter. After a moment, he added, "For a 4-inch horseshoe, that is 160 hits." "Wow," responded Peter. It seemed like the correct reaction, but Peter had no idea if that was a lot. After all, blacksmiths hit things all day long. "You know what I did?" prompted Judd. "What?" responded Peter with fake interest. "I found a way to do it in 8 hits per inch," Judd said with a wide grin. "That's it?" asked Peter. He didn't mean to be rude, but saving 2 hits per inch didn't seem like a big deal. It was only a constant factor. "That's a lot," responded Judd. He was obviously upset with Peter for not sharing his joyous moment. "It's still an O of n times n process," argued Peter. "Or more accurately, it's still an O(n) squared process. Times k if you're going to have k number of horseshoes. I'm guessing you make more than one horseshoe at a time, right?" "Huh?" It appeared that blacksmiths weren't required to learn complexity theory. Peter switched tactics. "Why not form them in a mold?" asked Peter. "Then it would take O of k times to make all of your horseshoes." Judd looked aghast. "It takes hours to make a mold," he said. "How long does it take to hit a horseshoe?" asked Peter. "Normally, or when I'm in the zone?" "When you're in the zone," answered Peter. 2 seconds. "And how long does it take you to build a mold and cast a horseshoe in that mold?" "Well, maybe 15 minutes per inch to carve the horseshoe, then 60 seconds to fill the whole mold," answered Judd. "So to make k horseshoes of n size, it would take 2 times 8 times n times n times k seconds with your new method. With a mold, it would take 60 times k times 900 times n. Correct?" Judd squinted as he tried to conform the math in his head. His lips moved and he waved his finger as though writing in the air. Peter almost offered him a pen and paper, but worried that might be insulting. "So?" Judd asked finally. Peter was not sure if Judd had reached the same conclusion or simply given up. "So in the long run, it's cheaper to use a mold," answered Peter. "If you have to make 26 6-inch horseshoes. Alright, so K equals 20, and N being the length equals 6. Your method takes 11,520 seconds to do. A mold takes 6,600 seconds to do. The mold is faster, a lot faster. He waited for the look of joy to cross Judd's face. A simple analysis of computational complexity would have saved Judd vast amounts of time. But instead of happy, Judd looked angry. "Fine," he said, "I guess I'll go make some molds." "What's wrong with that?" asked Peter. "Are you upset that I quashed your revolutionary idea?" Judd shook his head. "No, it's just, well, I really like hitting things with hammers." Now Peter could see the problem with the mold idea.